Hey y'all, 2017 Dodge Ram Rebel. If you watched my other videos, you know that I had the 2017 Eco Diesel, which I truly did like, except for all the mechanical issues, the new engine at 70-some thousand miles, and the DP clogged, and all the DEF heaters, and yeah, the list is endless. But anyway, I really like this Rebel. The other video that I have with the lifter tap that's kind of common in these, I drained out the crappy oil that the dealer puts in, and I put in the Rotella T6, new filter, and knock wood. Fuel mileage has been really good for a Hemi, and I've not had any lifter tap since. So we're going to stick with that. Oh, by the way, no check engine lights either. So we're going to stick with that and see what happens. But in my haste to get rid of the Eco Diesel, I didn't even notice that it didn't have a trailer brake controller. And I have a car trailer. I don't tow heavy, but I do use the trailer often. I need it this weekend, so long story short, Amazon OEM controller and switches, $100 cheaper than the dealer. I have Alpha OBD 2 and the dongle to program it once I get it installed. My only fear is that the wiring harness from the factory is not in place. I heard that that's hit and miss, so we're going to find out. And I can tell somebody's been in here trying to get this off because this cover plate is already scratched. So we're going to try to avoid any more damage. We're going to use a flat tip screwdriver, a little one. And we're going to use a piece of rubber from a screen door threshold to kind of try and protect the surrounding areas so we don't screw it up anymore. This is the kit that came from Amazon. The switch, or yeah, I guess it would be the switch. I like that it says made in the United States. I'd like to see a "the" in there, so who knows for sure. The module and the bracket. Now, it's my understanding that this bracket is a nightmare to get in, especially if you have big meaty claws, which unfortunately I do. So it's very possible that I'll bypass that bracket, and I'm going to wire tie this right to one of the harnesses that I'm sure are under the dash. So to get this started, I need to remove this cover. And if the harness is back there, and I'm hoping that it's snapped into the back of this cover, being in like professional auto tech for 20 years, the better part of 20 years, I've seen that a million times where the harness is actually clipped into the back of the cover. If that's the case, I'm going to proceed, and we're going to pull off this cover underneath the steering wheel. There's, as far as I can tell, I've never had one of these apart, so we're kind of going to be learning together. 9/32. That's what fits the little bolts. I'll use my rigid impact because I'm lazy. And we'll see what happens with the hood release, because obviously that's hooked to the same cover. And the starter switch up here, hopefully there's enough room that I can just kind of let it hang and do what I got to do and put it back together without, you know, interrupting anything else. So let's get this cover off and we'll be right back. All right, so I'm a one pony show. I don't have a cameraman. Hopefully this all comes out well, but we're going to stick our screwdriver in the slot, give it a firm push, and pop this cover out. And apparently it didn't matter because I see that I did ding the trim around it. And I'm not sure why that's in there so darn tight. Look at that. The harness exists, and it's actually snapped into the back of the cover. Like I said, I've been working on cars, trucks for a long time, and I've seen this a million times. And this is how they store it to keep it safe. So basically, you're just going to press the detent and release it from the cover. So now I'm confident that the rest of the harness is going to be there. Let's open up our switch. Exact same switch that I had in the Eco Diesel. So we're going to plug that in. Make sure it's snapped in, because the last thing you want is for it to fall apart, you know, a month from now. I'm kind of bummed out that I put a ding in this. Actually, I don't think you'll even notice. I think this other person's ding you're going to notice, though. And then just snap it in. It's like one of those little puzzles. You know, the square, block, round, hole kind of thing. We're going to do another video after I actually get this in on how to, because they have to be programmed. I didn't expect this to go in so tightly. We're going to have a look at this. We'll be right back. Alright guys, 100% honest in my videos. Nobody's paying me to do these, so I've got zero reason to lie. On this part here and up here, this is square the way it comes out on the plastic. So I looked at the way it was trying to fit in there and realized it wasn't going to fit in there because of the squareness of these two corners. Quick trip to the grinder in the shop, rounded those off a little bit, and I think now we're going to be okay. So let's check it out. Alright, so let's give this another shot. And again, make sure your harness is snapped in well. You don't want it falling out down the road. Guess if it wasn't upside down, again, transparent. Okay, there it goes. So that took care of that. Knock those corners off and you're good to go. You can use a file, sandpaper, a grinder. Just be careful that you don't, you know, hurt anything. So now we've got our switch in. Let's get this cover off and see what we're up against under there. Be right back. And again, y'all, I apologize. I'm a one-pony show. I have no cameraman. Hopefully you can see. And again, it's a 9/32 socket that fits those. And I'm guessing there's more to it than that. It's not like the old days. Well, it wasn't the old days. It wasn't that long ago. So we're going to use our trusty snap-on flashlight. We're going to illuminate the area and see what the heck else is holding us up. Alright, there's no more screws. It's just plastic snaps. Alright, nice. So the start switch button stays here. We do have, I don't know if it's a thermistor here or what, our OBD2 connector and our hood release. So I think we're just going to undo that, and that was just a push clip. Try to get this out of the way without hurting it. And let's see. This looks like it might be our module connectors. They love to wrap things in foam so they don't rattle. Yeah, that's them. This is awesome. So that's what they look like. And they're going to plug into the module that we bought. So let's get those plugged in and find out where I'm going to mount this. Because, again, I'm not going to waste 2 days trying to put in 4 screws to put this on the bracket that it came with. You can do it the way you want, but this solid state stuff, no tubes, no moving parts, it's going to be safe. Be right back. So I just plugged in the first connector, and I should bring up that when you snap these in, you should hear a pronounced click, which means they're fully seated and the lock tabs have engaged. Like that. So we're good to go here. So let me find my mounting spot and we'll be right back. So this couldn't be easier. You have your duct here for your HVAC that blows on your feet. And factory is usually a little bit cheap with the length of the wires, but there's just enough to mount it right on top of that. It'll be out of the way. It's going to work fine. So I'm going to set up a few wire ties and wire tie it right to that. And that's going to make this installation ridiculously easy. So let me get that wire tied in. And once again, it's getting boring, I know. We'll be right back. All right, so that worked out fine. We'll cut off the excess wire tie. Not that anybody's going to see it, but I know it's there, so it's going to bother me. And that's going to be good. I wonder what that one's for. Doesn't matter, I don't need anything. So we're going to plug our thermistor back in and put this cover back on. And I don't know, there may be some folks out there that aren't sure, but when you tighten your screws back down when you're putting things together, don't over tighten them because you'll crack the plastic. So let's put this back together, and basically we're done with the install. Then we just need to program it. Be back in a sec. All right, so we have our lower cover back on, trim, whatever you'd like to call it. Our controller is in place, switch, whatever you want to call that. And yeah, I'm okay with this. Turned out pretty well. So if your wire ties are too short, and again, I'm a one-man show, you can put two wire ties together. Just snap them in like this, and I locked it. Darn it, that's okay. I can take it apart. And cut off the ends, and short wire ties become long wire ties. Tie straps, whatever you want to call them. So basically that ends this part of the video. We're all good to go, thankfully. And I did read that most of these trucks come with the harness already installed. It's cheaper for them to make the harness as one unit without putting add-ons in or out. So the likelihood of you having the connectors for this application, it's pretty good. But yeah, this is the end of the first part of the video. The next part, we're going to program it, and we'll see what happens then. So far, very happy. Everything worked out, and we'll be in touch soon. I don't even know what today is. Friday, July 21st already. My God, summer is like really cruising by. It's kind of sad. Guys, have a great night, and we'll talk soon. Take care.